I came to the UK in 2023 for my master's degree in international business. Teaching was nowhere in that plan. But years down the line, I found myself in a classroom as a qualified secondary school teacher. So if you are currently in the UK or you're planning to come to the UK, but are wondering what to do with your current career, especially if your initial plan has not gone exactly the way you wanted it to go, if that's you, then maybe my story might just be useful for you. But meanwhile, let me take you all the way back to the beginning. My name is Rose. I'm Nigerian. I've lived all my life in Nigeria except from the last 3 years. I graduated with a bachelor's degree in applied microbiology from Nnamdi Azikiwe University. Straight out from the university, just after COVID, I decided to start my own business. I decided I didn't want to work for anybody. I didn't want to be employed by anybody, just because I wanted to do business and work on my own terms. And so I built my own clothing brand and called it Roseline Clothing, which is now Ioma Atelier. And I'm hoping that Ioma Atelier can go on to become a bridal fashion brand in the future. Somewhere down the line, I decided I wanted to come to the UK for a master's degree in international business. And honestly speaking, I had wanted to do that for a very long time. One, because my brother was here. He was my favorite brother at the time, and I just wanted to see him. I wanted to be around him. Number two was because I was going through a very difficult time emotionally and, socially, I would say, at that very time. Whilst trying to grow a brand. And so I thought like I just needed fresh environment and fresh air. And of course, like every other person, I was coming to the UK with an infatuation. I thought I was coming to the UK to add to a life that I was already building, not knowing that I was going to come start from scratch. When I arrived in the UK, I remember telling my brother that I just wanted to continue my fashion brand. I wanted to get customers and just continue sewing. Fortunately for me, my brother's wife already had a sewing machine that I thought I was going to use before I get mine. I mean, I didn't have any customers that trusted me enough to give me their clothes to make in the UK yet. And that took time for me to actually build. Now, that's a story for another day. But Roseline Clothing did not happen until the next 3 years after I arrived to the UK. I took up odd jobs. I remember working in festivals, like the summer festivals. I remember also working in the Manchester football stadium, which was quite interesting. I also remember, what else did I do? I think those were the two that I did before I started then looking for a more, career-focused role. So I started looking into schools because I heard a few people do cover supervisor roles and teaching assistant roles. And I also heard a lot about the carer role, which I also tried to get as well. But yeah, both the school work and the carer work weren't coming forward at all in Manchester. Fortunately for me, a friend recommended me somewhere in the Midlands for a school job as a cover supervisor, and I got the job. And so I had to move all the way down from the north to the Midlands to start that job. One thing I need to tell you about cover supervisor role is that, especially when you're working with an agency, is that you really do not know every morning if you're going to have a job or not. So the call to go to a school normally would come around 7ish. And if it came, then you have to rush off to whatever school that you're being placed in, which might be miles away from you. Most of it were miles away from me, and I wasn't driving. And so that was very chaotic in my life then, but I had to continue doing that. And that uncertainty somehow caused me to be very anxious because I really didn't know if I was going to get paid that day, if I had a shift to even get paid. Fortunately for me, again, I got the carer job, which I did not think at any point was for me at all. Okay, so I struggled with that role as well, but I went once in a while, especially when the cover supervisor role wasn't forthcoming. It was more like I was juggling between these two roles from time to time. And also, remember, my master's degree was there. I was focusing on that as well. There were assignments to do and there were lectures to attend. So this was me juggling all of these things together and also thinking how I can save up for my next tuition fee. To me, that period in my life was very trying. And I would also say, now looking backwards, it also helped me to see God's faithfulness in a very good way. So far, business was not going as planned. I did not have Roseline Clothing. In fact, I didn't forget it, but I was nearly, not giving up, but giving up hope that I was ever going to start that business again. And I was now doing 2 jobs, a carer's job, and I was teaching as a cover supervisor in schools. It often feels like you're just flowing with the wind. Whatever comes, who knows what tomorrow would bring. And I really hated not having a plan or not knowing where to go or not having like a picture of what my life should look like, at least the next 1 year. I wanted to know what I was doing, what I could do, what the possibilities could be, and all of that. But all of that was just not coming forth. I just had to go with the flow. For those of you that have done the cover supervisor job before, you know that especially when you're working with agency, you probably are being juggled from one school to another. And I think that's where you might build a very, not so true mental picture of what teaching is about. Whilst I was a cover supervisor, juggling from one school to another, I had made up my mind that this career was not for me. I did not want to be a teacher because I thought that being a cover supervisor was the same thing as being a teacher. So where it became more comfort for me that I could actually explore this career was when I started working in a school long term. So one school, I went every day as first of all, it was as a patrol officer, I would call that. And then I went further to become a science technician in the same school. Now you can see, first of all, there was progression. Second of all, there was consistency. I think that consistency and that progression helped me to see that that my value was noticed, I was seen, and I was offered that progression. That is one bit that genuinely allowed me to consider the career of being a teacher or working in school. And number 2 is through the consistency of being in one school for a long time, I genuinely started to find value in everything that goes on in a school. Everybody that puts all the bits and pieces to make the school work, I started to find value in that. Now, the impact that I made as a science technician and even as a patrol officer in trying to help the kids and support the kids in the way that I could helped me to see the impact that a teacher would make in supporting the students to learn. And that went a long way for me to see or to understand more so what teaching might entail and what I could also get out of teaching. That fulfillment that you get or that comes with just helping students do something that you could not do before and seeing them progress from not being able to do it before to now being able to do it. So I started considering maybe exploring teaching. I didn't know how the process worked. I didn't know that I needed a QTS at that point. I just didn't know anything. It was just the thought in my head at that point. At some point, my agency mentioned to me that the school where I am could possibly put me on a teacher training that would possibly help me to become a qualified teacher. So I kept that in mind. I ruminated on it. I prayed about it at some point. And I just let it be. I didn't really speak about it. So at a point, God puts it in somebody's heart, one of the people on the leadership team that came to pitch to me about the teacher training and if I was interested, that the school could, sponsor that and all of that. So he talked to me about it and directed me to the right person to speak to. And so I took it up. I spoke to the person and looked at it. I did the application in no time. And they were actually supportive through the application. And I got on the training after a while. That was how, it wasn't random. Becoming a teacher or getting on the training was not just random. I feel like it was planned, but not by me, by God. So when I find people asking, can being a cover supervisor lead to being a qualified teacher? I understand perfectly well that question because I have been there. And I know that for me, it led to being a qualified teacher, and it can for you as well. But these are the things that I learned actually on my own role as a cover supervisor. Cover supervisor role does not give you a clear picture of what teaching it is different. In having experience as a cover supervisor sort of gives you an edge, because now you understand what it is or what it looks like being in school and standing in front of young people. I mean, for teaching, you've got assessment, you've got markings, you've got meetings, you've got parents there, you've got duties, and all of these other things that come at the back of teaching, right? You've got planning, lesson planning as well, which is a very big part of the teaching career. Number 2 is whatever you find to do it well. Whether it's cover supervisor or teaching assistant, do it well, put your best in it. And that is something that I have learned and I have taken into even every other part of my life. As a cover supervisor, it's not an easy role. I know that it's not an easy role, especially when you have to juggle from one school to another. It can be hard being in front of students that you probably will not see the next day, and they know that you're not going to see them the next day. It just doesn't make much sense. Learn, improve, show the school that you're improving. And then when you have the opportunity to be consistently going to one school, I feel like that might be your chance or your opportunity to actually show what you can do to that school. Because you see, one thing I've learned in the UK, staying in the UK, is that people are watching. Like, these guys are watching. Most of the time they pretend like they don't see, but they're seeing you. They see the impact that you bring. They see the change that you make. They see the effects of you being in a room. Number 3 would be that as a cover supervisor, if you already have it in mind or you already know that you want to explore teaching, I think it's time to start talking about it. Talk to your agency, because they know the schools that are able to retain you or put you onto some sort of teacher training in that school. They know that information, and that could help you to just save you the stress of going and searching and researching for yourself. The school that you currently are at might be able to put you on a teacher training, and yet you don't know, right? Except someone tells you. So ask the questions, talk about it, be passionate about it, show them that you're passionate about it, about becoming a teacher. Show them the impacts that you can give or that you can make in their school, even whilst being a cover supervisor, especially when you now have the information that they're able to retain you as a teacher, as a trainee teacher. Another reason why I decided to train to become a teacher was because I had weighed the other thing that I was doing, which was being a carer, and I just knew that wasn't for me. So I think like the other option that I probably had was being a teacher. I also committed it to God as well, and I just wanted to be in a place where I felt safe, I felt seen, I was constantly growing in my mind, in my intellect. So I stopped the carer work and just focused on teaching. My training year, I would say, was one of the most challenging years of my life. Mind you, I trained to get the QTS, and I also was doing the PGC on the side as well. So those were 2 different things. The method of assessment were different. For PGC, I had to write assignments. For the QTS, on the other hand, I had to work in school and prove that I had met the teacher standards through different processes that had to go on, like observations. There were loads of documents to fill, lesson plannings, feedback, and all of that was going on. It was so challenging, but yet coming out on the other side of it, I feel so fulfilled. Like, that is one thing that I have done that I feel really proud of. One thing that I learned on that training was that you could never be ready. I say it so frequently now that nobody can prepare you enough for the teacher training. Nobody. You can't be so prepared to become a teacher. You can't say that, oh, you're ready to become a teacher. You're only ready to become a teacher when you get onto the job and do the job. That is where you get ready. That is where you get the skills you develop as a teacher. Do not wait till you're ready. You can't be ready. You have to get on there. You have to do the job. You're learning to become a teacher on the job. That is one, major lesson that I learned during my training year. So if that's something that you're waiting to be ready, just jump on that training. Now I'm a qualified teacher, and I am so grateful for the fact that I'm able to find something that I care about. But I haven't also forgotten the other side of me, the other part of me. I feel like as a person, I don't know if you've ever felt in that sense of there are different things, there are different, aspects of you that you haven't really explored so much, but you know that they are there. You know that there are those aspects of you that make you who you are. It could be a passion, it could be, a dream, it could be an idea that you've fostered for so long. And I think fashion is one of those things for me. I think fashion designing makes me to a very great extent. And that's something that I'm not willing to forget. That's something I really want to explore as well, alongside teaching. At the end of the day, I feel like I used to say, I don't know how long I'm going to teach for. But one thing that I know is that I want to definitely, I see myself, my future self, being a fashion, owner, a fashion founder, someone that does bridal fashion. And I feel like that is what I want to retire doing, because I will continue to enjoy doing it. It's something that I feel like I will continue enjoying to do, and I want to make impact in that sense as well. Something else that I found myself doing lately is creating content, and I am so loving it. I don't understand, but I think that's something I want to also explore, and that comes from a place of trying to make sure that someone out there is seeing something that I did not see that would help them on the journey that they are on, because I have experienced something that they've not experienced. And so me talking about it will probably give them a smoother landing, if they are to experience the same thing that I've experienced. Trying to speak to people that are on similar journey as me, and let's just journey this thing together. So that's how I came to the UK from Nigeria for my master's degree in international business, and found myself becoming a qualified teacher. And I think really that I'm still in the middle of my story, nowhere close to the end at all. And if you're someone that is at that stage as well, where you're trying to figure out your career, especially in the UK, you'll probably enjoy what's coming next on this channel. I'm going to be talking about teaching in the UK, navigating your career here, and some other things that I'm building on the side as well. So if you are currently in the UK thinking about becoming a teacher, or just simply figuring out where your career should go from where you currently are, then hit the subscribe button and then tell me in the comment section what stage you are right now.